Welcome to I Scream, You Scream, your weekly scoop of the most chilling histories, mysteries, and paranormal perplexities. My name's Gina.
And I'm Kathryn.
And this month we've been telling stories that have to do with bodies of water while we enjoy some lovely ice cream floats. If you already know us, welcome back. We're so happy you're here. And if you want to see more from us each month, go on over and join us on Patreon. This episode is sponsored by Clobear Money Coach. So if you're ready to start investing your money, but you're not really sure how to start, go on over to getlazynow.com. But in the meantime, grab a spoon and let's dig in. All right, final float. What are we having?
So listen, guys. I did my very best. I do not have whiskey ice cream and ginger ale.
Oh, no.
Let me explain. I tried, but the place that we get the whiskey ice cream, like small, locally owned, independent shop, it's like they make as much as they have, and that's what they have. So you never really know what flavors exactly are going to be there when you go. And I did not have whiskey ice cream, and I waited too long to check, so it is my fault entirely. I was going to lie to you all and be like, yeah, I have it. It's great, blah, blah, blah. But Phil told me that if I did that, he would comment on our YouTube questioning our authenticity as a podcast. So he's keeping me honest, and I do not have it. But what I do have is ginger ale with snickerdoodle ice cream. And so I feel like that's going to be good. Let me see.
Sounds real good.
Yeah, that's real good. So like worth it. Sad I don't have the thing I've been talking about forever. It tastes very Christmassy with the cinnamon and the ginger and all that.
Sounds wonderful. Where did you get snickerdoodle ice cream from? Was that Purple Door?
No, just regular grocery store. Nothing against Purple Door, but I just was taking it personally that they didn't have the whiskey ice cream, and I like didn't want anything else. You know what I mean? I was in like one of those moods. I was like,
Forget it.
Again, not their fault. I am not blaming them. 100% my fault for waiting. But then Phil and I needed to go to the store anyway because I still didn't have the ginger ale. So we just got it there.
I feel like you got close, though. And you could still have it in the future.
Yeah, I will. I promise. I still will. Now I'm on a mission. But this is good. I want to know, what are you eating before I rate mine?
Still on my affogato thing. So mocha ice cream with espresso.
Do you have a rating for yours?
I think I'm going to give it a 1. I'm not a float well, I don't like carbonated stuff has never really been my bag. I thought I could get through it if the ice cream like melted into the fizziness. Still was not a huge fan of the bubbles. And then now this like the mocha ice cream that I made, I didn't do a great job with it. And so it's way too dense and the texture is not quite right. So it just it wasn't my month, but that's all right.
Oh, no. Okay. First and foremost, did not know you didn't like fizzy things. I'm a fizzy
really?
girl. I love a bibble. A bibble.
A bibble.
I promise there's no whiskey in this float. I love a bubble in any capacity. I didn't know that you didn't like bubbles.
Well, I guess it doesn't really come up. That's why I never just drink like soda on its own. It's always like with alcohol. Like whiskey and ginger ale, perfect, delightful. I can do that, but I wouldn't just have a ginger ale on its own, ever.
Oh my God, that's like my nightly drink. Phil and I will like crack open a little ginge and turn on true crime. Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah, that's like... And people have made fun of us for that because it's the only soda we buy. 0 sugar, store brand ginger ale. And people will be like, oh my God, what are you, 85? And I'm like, Phil is. Yes, not me. But then people will like offer them to people and they're like, oh yeah, this hits. I haven't had just a plain old ginger ale in a long time. Because it's usually like that. Like you have soda in a cocktail. You don't just crack open a cold one for no reason but the bubbles. Yeah, I love it. It's a perfect summer drink. So I'm enjoying my ginger ale. I don't remember. Did I successfully do a different flavor each week? I think I did. But on accident? Wait, maybe I didn't. I don't know. I don't remember all my flavors. They have been I've had a great time with all of them. They've all been good. I feel bad that I didn't get to the whiskey and ginger ale, so I'm going to give this month like a 3.75.
Okay, specific.
Yeah, but all of my flavors have been like a 4.
That's
but I'm
good.
knocking
That's really
it a little
good.
bit. Yeah, I'm knocking it a little bit because I lost sight of the goal. I lost it. Yeah, I love a float. Phil got me into floats. Like, we used to have them when I was little. I never liked root beer. My grandma would get so mad at me because I'd want a Diet Coke float, and she'd be like, that's not how you do it. You have to have your root beer. And I'd be like, I don't like root beer. So that made floats a little weird for me for a while because I thought that they had to be root beer. But once you open it up to just anything, it can be any bubble in any flavor. I really enjoy them now. So this is, I think I've mentioned this. This is Phil's and my, we'll like draw the shades, turn off all the lights, and like snuggle in on the couch on like hot summer days with like, and he goes the whole nine. He'll put the mugs in the freezer, set the timer.
Wow.
So that they're in there for X amount of time. Like, it's a whole thing for him. So this is like summer tradition.
So it's nostalgic. There's like a heartfelt element to it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. As just not for me. But
And that's fair. I mean, it definitely is a very specific, it creates a very specific texture that as a texture girly, I understand would not be for everyone.
yeah, the flavor is one. Like I do like the flavor of root beer and vanilla ice cream, or like Coke and vanilla ice cream. It's, you know, something like that. But it's not.
Yeah.
Just, the bubbles hurt. Anyway,
Yeah.
next month is going to be a really fun one, I think, because I think this is the first month where the topic that we're covering and the ice cream flavor are the same.
Yes, I think it is.
Do you want to?
No,
Drop
it's
it?
your turn.
You want to say?
Nope.
Okay.
It's your turn.
I thought I could get away with it.
Absolutely not.
All right, so the prompt for next month's episodes is outrageous. Just the word outrageous.
What does it
and the prompt
mean?
for
Who knows?
ice cream flavor is also outrageous. It's just the weirdest off the wall shit that we can possibly think of. That's what we're going to be doing, and that's what we're going to be eating.
Which I'm realizing in this moment, I'm a little scared. Because what is outrageous ice cream? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines outrageous as... I did actually look this up because when I
Good.
think about the word outrageous, it always has a bit of a positive connotation in my brain. It's like a fun, like, ooh, wacky, you know? That's not what it means. It just means not conventional. Another one is going beyond all standards of what is right or decent. So
Yeah, that tracks. I feel like I don't have, it's just a very neutral word in my brain, which I'm remembering. Okay, I'm unlocking what I did to you over the last, 9 months. We've changed the word
oh yeah.
that we used to describe this month so many times. And it's so funny that you still have a positive connotation with outrageous, because that's why I was like most comfortable with outrageous, because all the other phrases or words we used were, I felt like they were too positive, which, sorry, spoiler everyone, there are going to be some dark stories again next month.
Yeah.
But like I felt weird using a positive word to like describe the stories that I am choosing.
I'm trying to
So I
remember
love that
what
we
it
still
was.
ended up. One of them was surprise.
Okay.
We
yeah.
started, one of the early ones was surprise, but we had like 2 or 3 more, and I just kept overthinking it. So now we're on outrageous.
I like outrageous. I think I
do too.
I like outrageous because it reminds me of Peep Show in that one scene where he's singing, "It's outrageous," just every time. That's what I think of. But it'll be good. It'll be an interesting month. Lots of variety. I'm planning on getting real weird with the ice cream portion. That's what I'm really jazzed about.
You know, I didn't really think of the ice cream at all until this moment, and now I'm like, oh fuck,
World of
I'm gonna have to
opportunities.
do better. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes next month.
Well, if there is no news nor further announcements, I would love to hear your tale, and so would Cinnamon.
I was going to say Cinnamon and I would be honored to tell you a tale. And today's tale is about a town that I was unfamiliar with called Niagara-on-the-Lake. Just as a quick, like, really belated shout out, this was inspired by many, many moons ago. We had a listener story from our friends over at Tea Tales and Talks, and they mentioned a ghost experience that they had in a hotel when visiting Niagara Falls. And they mentioned something about the, area being very, very haunted, which I knew about that energy or whatever, but not any specific stories. So when we decided to do Bodies of Water month, I wanted to throw it back to that and see what was going on with the haunted energy over there. And boy, oh boy, is there. Yes, it's very haunted. I knew nothing about this town, but I'm going to share with you what I learned right now. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Often called one of the prettiest towns in Canada, Niagara-on-the-Lake also has a reputation as one of Canada's most haunted towns. In the entire country of Canada, it has a reputation of most haunted town. Yeah, pretty big. So there are numerous tragedies that have plagued this town / region in general, but for the purposes of keeping this within our allotted time frame, I am going to focus on just one general tragedy, and that is the War of 1812. More on that later. Before we get to the war, we're going to start with a little bit of geographical background. So Niagara-on-the-Lake is located along the shores of Lake Ontario. What in the hell? I'm so sorry. Lake Ontario. Lake Ontario, right on the mouth of the Niagara River, which is the home of, you guessed it, Niagara Falls. And the falls are about, I think, like 15, 20-ish miles down the river from the town. So it's in this little corner of Lake River. The area was originally, oh no, I didn't look up the pronunciation of any of these nations.
Oh, no.
God. Oh no. Okay. The area was originally inhabited by the Neutral Nation, also known as the Attawandaron or Angiara tribes, which is the root word for the name Niagara. So that's where the town's name came from, and like the falls and the whole region. Fun fact. And they were named the Neutral Nation because of their role in mediating disputes between other warring tribes in the area, specifically Huron and Iroquois nations, and they occupied the region for millennia before the Brits moved in the 17th century. And when that was happening, it was because loyalists were fleeing the Revolutionary War. So if you look on the map, Niagara-on-the-Lake is literally directly west of New York State. So the loyalists weren't trying to get far. They just like needed a political border to cross and they were not picky, so they just swam over and like plopped down right there. So if you looked across the river, they were like waving at America. It was like not far at all.
Have fun with the war, losers.
Literally, that's kind of, yes. They were like, fuck you, we love tea and taxes, so we'll be over here. So the town had a lot of name changes. It was originally called Butlersburg in 1781, but later renamed to Newark for just a few years. I don't know how many years, actually. I won't say just a few. But then people petitioned to have it changed to Niagara. Then eventually, in the 1970s-ish, I think, it was legally officially changed to Niagara-on-the-Lake, I believe. So,
Okay.
so many name changes, and I think that's just a general overview of them. I am not going to look any more into that because a lot of the dates that I found also were different from other dates I found. So it kind of seemed like the type of place where, you know, someone wanted it to be called this, another person wanted it to be called this. So it was just kind of like, who knows what the hell this place is called for a while. I am just going to call it Niagara-on-the-Lake so as not to confuse anyone, specifically myself. Just know that most of the time frame we'll be talking about, it was called Newark or Niagara.
All right.
But it's now Niagara-on-the-Lake. Final decision. So back when it was Newark in the 1790s, it was the first official capital of Canada. Because of this, several official buildings went up very quickly. Suddenly you had government buildings, military barracks, high-end hotels and inns, retail shops, basically anything that would make this like an appealing central place for a capital city. And that included really beautiful and nice homes for wealthy, like government families. To this day, some of the oldest buildings in all of Canada are in this town. And when you have old buildings, you of course have all of the energy that is left behind by all the zillions of people who have passed through, which leads us to the ghosts. I will say, sorry, before we get to the ghosts, in addition to all of the buildings being super old, there are a lot of other factors that lead to the town being known as the, quote, most haunted town in Canada. One of these factors is something that we've not really talked about yet in Bodies of Water Month, which I was really surprised about at first because it is one of my favorite ghost fun facts. But it makes sense that we haven't talked about it yet because we haven't really talked about ghosts at all. I think
That's true.
Llorona, La Llorona might be the closest one. She's more in the legend category. So I don't know. I just, when this came up in this story, I was delighted because I was like, oh yeah, I like haven't had the opportunity to mention this. Anyway, the thing I want to mention is it is thought that, you know, spirits need physical energy from this plane or whatever you want to call it to communicate or be active in any way. And water is an energy conductor. So it is thought that locations with already active energy or heavy energy or thick energy or whatever you want to call it can be exacerbated when there are bodies of water nearby. Niagara-on-the-Lake is located on the shores of one of the biggest Great Lakes, and it's along the river that is home to one of the largest waterfalls in the world, which flows right into another one of our Great Lakes. So there's a lot of water readily available in and around this area to conduct a lot of energy for a lot of ghosts in this town. So
That's
in summary, water
fascinating.
equals ghosts. Exactly. Yeah, I love that theory.
That's so cool.
So much.
It's a very good fun fact.
Yeah. So that is, I mean, you know, if you keep this in mind and then notice where haunted locations are, a lot of times they do exist near or around water in some way. Anyway, besides the whole water situation, another theory as to why this town in particular is so active is the fact that it was an incredibly prominent location in the aforementioned War of 1812.
You know what scares me even more than ghosts? My bank account, and especially saving for retirement.
If you feel the same way about your own retirement savings, fret not, little spoons, because we've got something to save you from yourselves.
Our friend of the pod, Chloe, aka Chloe Bear Money Coach, and founder of the Lazy Investors course, is teaching women how to build wealth without turning into a finance bro. If investing feels confusing, overwhelming, or just downright terrifying, download Chloe's free investing guide at getlazynow.com.
It walks you through how to build wealth the lazy way, which I can personally attest to because I've been using her services for many years, and you all know how lazy I like to be. Effort, gross, hate it. If you hate it too, visit getlazynow.com to grab the free investing guide from Chloe Bear Money Coach. That's getlazynow.com. Most of the battles during that war took place along the water because those just happened to be the borders that they were fighting over at the time. And because Niagara-on-the-Lake was the capital at the time, it became the British headquarters during the war, and they would all meet up at Fort George and like do their war stuff. Then in the spring,
Tally-ho, boys to war.
I don't know what was going on in the War of 1812, and I'm not going to pretend to get it. So in the spring of 1830, what? That's not correct at all. 1813.
What? Oh my god. One of my favorite things you do is when you just shock yourself with what you say.
I feel like it hasn't happened in a while. I've been good about not being surprised about what comes out of my mouth.
It cracks me up.
It's because it's always almost correct. And it's like 1813, 1830. Verbally, that's so close.
That is a fact, yeah.
But definitely super wrong. So it was the spring of 1813. The British fleets that were defending Lake Erie at the time were supposed to have these cannons sent to them, presumably from Britain, but I don't know. These cannons, long story short, basically got lost in the mail. I don't know what happened. I think the Americans like intercepted them. I don't know. I'm trying to summarize.
Sorry.
They just like didn't make it to Lake Erie, basically. So what ended up happening was Fort George, which was whatever, probably the closest fort to where the guys in Lake Erie were, lent out all of their cannons to the Lake Erie crew, which, like, not to victim blame, But what the fuck? Like, I don't totally get why you would just get rid of all of your cannons. I understand sending some, totally get that. But they were like completely without cannons. They sent all of their cannons to the point where I do wonder if I misunderstood what I was reading, but that's what my sources said. All of our sources are linked in the show notes. You can fact check me. I promise I'm not making this up. It just doesn't make sense to me. icecreamyscreampod@gmail.com. If this makes sense for some reason for like a capital city fort to just get rid of all of their armor, please let me know why that makes sense, because I genuinely do not get it. Anyway, word gets out to the Americans that the head guys in charge have no weapons. So they're like, cool, we're going to infiltrate now. So soldiers out of New York, led by General George McClure, attack Fort George on my brother's birthday, May 25th.
Wow.
Yes.
It's a Gemini
Long before
war.
he was born, though. Gemini war. Oh my God, wait. I love that. That's a violent war.
Yeah, that war would suck. Oh my God.
It does, when you phrase it that way, does kind of make sense why they were like, okay, Bessie, here's all our cannons. Whoops.
We don't need it. Never mind.
We made a mistake. Acted on impulse, and that's what happens. All right. So anyway, they attack. Absolute chaos. Within 2 days, the Americans have taken over the entire town. Nowhere is safe from invading soldiers. All or most or as many as possible of the British soldiers start to retreat to a different fort, and citizens are basically on their own. Many, if not all, local homes are housing American soldiers at this point, and the Americans were there for 7 months, and in December of that year, they realized, hey, turns out we do not have a plan, really not much else to do here. We need to move on somewhere else before the British return with like an actual plan and cannons. So they leave.
I want you to tell me about every war that's ever happened. Listen, I love this so much.
The worst part about this is I'm not trying to be funny. I just genuinely am like, I tried to look up what was going on in the War of 1812 to give everyone a little summary. Kind of seems like a dick size comparison that got out of hand. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. And then like no one had a plan and everything was just weird for a little bit. Things were bad. And then all of a sudden they were like, okay, bye. Anyway, sorry. So this part's actually sad. So before the Americans retreat, General McClure orders the soldiers to set fire to not only the fort, but the entire town.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. They were just like, fuck this, get rid of it before we bounce. So as a result, nearly the entire settlement was destroyed. And remember, this place was occupied. So the very rich and very important people like government officials and all of those people were not there because they had evacuated. So it wasn't these guys getting hurt. It was your neighbor down the lane. The people affected by this were those actually who made this community what it was. Everyone was just like on their own, but in it together. One of the most upsetting things to me was it wasn't the fire that, yes, the fire devastated the physical town, but most of the people made it out of the fire alive. But remember, this was December in 1813, back when it was still very, very cold and snowy in December. And these people were left without their homes. So they were like 90% of the townspeople had nowhere to go, had no shelter, and they were just like trying to survive New England in the winter. I guess it's not New England because they were in Canada, whatever. That northern region in the winter.
God.
So yeah, it was kind of a long, drawn out situation. A lot of people died from exposure, illness, starvation, etc. And they weren't really able to start rebuilding until the following spring. And even then, they were still at war. So really, most buildings weren't actually able to be rebuilt until after the war ended. The fort was very quickly reconstructed. Well, I say quickly relative to a huge-ass fort. I don't know, it probably still took a long time. But they did continue to operate as a fort until the 1960s, and it is now a National Historic Site To this day, it is one of the most haunted locations in Canada. There have been hundreds of claims of ghost sightings at this location specifically. And one of the most famous ghosts is a malevolent energy called the Watcher.
Ew. No.
I
No, no, no,
know.
no, 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 no.
My exact reaction. And it is as described. The Watcher is an ominous, shadowy apparition that lingers in doorways or down the hall. And it just watches, like it just stands there and you get the feeling of someone watching you. Yeah.
That's giving me Slender Man vibes. I don't like that one bit.
It's described as being very tall and lanky.
Bah.
And yeah, it's described as having like a very dark and heavy energy. And even though it's shadowy, it's more of like a shadow figure. There's no facial features or anything like that. But you can tell that it's observing you, despite the lack of face or eyes or anything like that. Isn't that so gross? I know.
Yeah, I despise that from the depths of my soul.
So awful, but it makes sense for a fort because those places like that have such heavy, heavy negative energy. I will say the other most famous spirit, it's a little sad because it's a little girl, it's a child, but it's a much more positive haunting. She is a little girl named Sarah Ann Tracy. And she was a real person. This is not just local lore or legend. This happened after the War of 1812, though. So I find that very interesting because when she lived there, I think this place would have already had a very haunting energy, and they were already kind of experiencing things from everything that happened at the war and all of that kind of stuff. So it's one of those, like, I wonder if she had experiences before she became one of the ghosts at the fort. But just as a little background on her, she was born in 1833, so like I said, after the war, and she was born in West Sussex, England, and she was the daughter of Hannah and Thomas B. Tracy, who was a troop sergeant major in the King's Dragoon Guards. Whatever the fuck that means. I feel like it doesn't make sense with my accent. I feel like I have to like British it up, but I'm scared to do that. So
Lord Dragoon.
he was in the King's Dragoon Guards up there in Canada.
I think that's even better.
So yeah, they were stationed at Fort George essentially. So she lived there with her family. And she died of an unknown disease. It is unspecified what she died of. My guess is probably tuberculosis or something thereabouts, just based on like the time and location. Could have been any number of things though. But she died in 1840, and she's buried in Niagara Lakeshore Cemetery, which was once associated with St. Mark's Church Cemetery, which is another very haunted location in the town. More on that later. Anyway, Sarah is known as being a mischievous child. She's very, very playful. She's famous for teasing the staff by, like, she'll tap them on the shoulder and then people will turn around and, like, no one's there. You know, when you're little and you're like, and then, like, kind of bounce and go hide behind something. It has that kind of energy. And then it's also said that she really, really loves when people come to visit her, especially kids around her age. Sightings of her and like experiences with her do tend to increase when there are children on the historic tours that go on there. And they also do ghost tours, I believe, at the fort. I did find one story that kind of freaked me out at first, but I also think it's sort of sweet. It came from a woman who claims that she was on a historic tour of the fort, and all of a sudden she saw a little girl walking down the stairs in what she thought was just a regular nightgown, it was like a white nightgown, but upon further and closer observation, it looked like a grown man's shirt, kind of like if you ever wore like your dad's old work shirts for like dress up or jammies or something like that. So not something you would wear in public. It very much had the vibe of like this kid is hanging at home, basically, you know, like she's like in her jammies and she comes flopping down the stairs.
That's cute.
It had a very like cozy, comfy at home vibe. And she said that no one else seemed to acknowledge this little girl. She kind of just came out of nowhere and no one seemed to notice her except this woman was like looking at her, wondering where she came from. And this kid just plops down on the bottom step and was very intently listening to the tour guide telling whatever story they were telling. And then the woman said that when they were moving on to the next location, the girl followed them, like she was walking with the group. And then all of a sudden, she was just gone. Out of nowhere, before they got to the next location, she had disappeared again, and the woman didn't see where she went.
Oh, that's so funny.
Isn't it cute? I wonder what story they were telling. I wonder if it had to do with the part of the building where she lived or someone she knew or something like that, you know?
And she's like, I already know this. This is boring.
She's like,
And so she
okay.
found.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so
oh,
cute.
this again. People have also claimed to hear the sound of marching, like up and down the barracks when no one is around. Very classic. Obviously, there's going to be some soldier haunting. So people will like see people out of the corner of their eye wearing military uniforms. It does seem like the type of place, I've never been there, obviously, but it seems like the type of place where people would like wear costumes and do historical, I don't know if they do like reenactments or, you know, whatever. It seems like that type of place. But so it's not weird to see people in uniform, but it is said that people will think they see a soldier who is like part of this place, and then all of a sudden they're gone. In addition to the marching soldiers and just soldiers out of the corner of their eye, there is a phantom bagpipe that people have said they can hear randomly. Ugh. Yeah, and it sounds like it's close. Like it sounds like it's on the premises very nearby and no one there is playing a bagpipe. The last two about the fort specifically are, I'm going to say, some of my favorites, and that is the sound of horses on the ground. So you can hear them like clopping around and like whinnying and all that stuff. And there's also said to be a cat that will like rub up against visitors and people on the historical tours when the tour takes them to the captain's quarters.
Oh, I love a cat ghost. I always get excited when we have one of those.
I know. It's just one small haunting of many at this place. But this place seems to have kind of a mix between negative and positive. Obviously, like I've said, anything associated with war or battles is going to have that heavy negative energy. But then you have others like more neutral or benevolent spirits that a little bit nicer. It's not just the fort that feels that way. Many places throughout the town carry this similar haunting but kind of mixed energy. It's not all good and scary or not all good or scary is what I meant to say. One building in particular is the Old Angel Inn. The inn was built, I believe, around 1789, and it opened with the name the Harmonious Coach House, but it burned down in the aforementioned fire during the war, and it was one of the buildings that was rebuilt after it was over. Worth mentioning that even though it burned down, it didn't burn completely, so parts of the original structure are still part of the building to this day. It still has some of the original framing, and I believe the wood floors are all original too, or at least mostly original. So there's a lot of pieces from the original structure. It is now a pub, thank goodness. We love a haunted bar of any sort.
Hooray.
Go check out our mini scoop from last month on Patreon to hear more on our thoughts of that. But this particular bar is said to be haunted by a British soldier. As the legend goes, one of the soldiers retreating after the American troops attacked was a young Canadian military officer named Captain Colin Swayze. And rather than leaving with the rest of the soldiers, Captain Swayze had arranged one last meeting with his one true love before he left, the innkeeper's daughter at the Harmonious Coach House.
I am picturing Dirty Dancing right now with Patrick Swayze.
Oh my God, of course.
100%.
Of course. The
right?
second I read Swayze, I just imagine him dancing, but like in a British military uniform.
But it's the same dance.
But it's the same
they're crawling
dance,
on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay,
exactly.
sorry.
So yeah, it was the innkeeper's daughter. He couldn't bear to leave without seeing her one final time. And as he waited for her to come say goodbye, the American soldiers showed up to have a look around to see if anyone was hiding any soldiers in any of the buildings. So he realized he was trapped because they were there for him, essentially. So Captain Swayze rushed into the inn's cellar and climbed inside an empty wine barrel and like hoping to like evade these soldiers looking for him. Instead, they were scouring the place from head to toe. And when they made it into the basement, they were using their bayonets to stab into sacks, corners, and yes, wine barrels to see if there were any British soldiers there. When they got to his barrel, they did stab his barrel. The strike was fatal, and Captain Swayze died, never having the chance to see his one true love again.
Oh my God. Oh, that sucks.
I know. Now, it is said that Captain Swayze still hangs around in hopes that his one true love, which I just realized is nameless in the story, so I'm going to keep my opinions on that to myself. Yeah, so he was hoping to see his one true love, you know, one last time, and he is still there waiting for her. It is said that if you go into the basement near where his barrel was, you can feel severe cold spots near where he was hiding. And people have seen a man in the military uniform that would have been worn in that era. So it is thought to be him kind of hanging around looking to see if it's her that's coming. It's not just Captain Swayze that's still there. It is said that people will hear the sounds of essentially a dinner party going on, which we've talked about before.
How
and I really
fun.
enjoy that. Yeah. Keep in mind, this was a place where people would come. It was an inn, so people were in and out. Celebrations were happening. You know, people were staying long term, blah, blah, blah. You can hear the sounds of people laughing, clinking plates, cheersing, but you can hear it like after you've closed up for the night. People will be working and trying to get out of there, and all of a sudden they're like, who's that? You know, like there's still a party going on. It's almost like the echoes of everything that had been happening earlier that night. I kind of like the idea of changing this narrative a little bit and say that Captain Swayze is still there, but maybe he's there with her at this party.
Aww.
And not just still waiting for her to come. I don't know. This is my reframing for the episode because I like that a lot better.
Yes, please. Let's start that rumor. That's a good one.
Yeah. Because again, like it is similar to the fort. It's one of those places where it's like, yeah, it's sad and dark and all of that. But then there's this party that goes on in the middle of the night when no one's around. Like, come on, we can just say that he's there and like manifest that for him. One of the other strange things that happens here is place settings on the tables will rearrange themselves overnight. Like everything will be set to go for the next day before they open. And then you come in the next day and all the place settings are all moved around. That could be one of two things. I think either things were moved in the party that was going on overnight, or there is an entity that is so annoyed with the way they're setting the table that they like rearrange it.
It is a Gemini
They're like, this
war.
isn't right. It is such a Gemini war. Yes. Yeah. It's like
God.
they're busy partying and then it's like, no, this isn't right. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Man, what an exhausting way to spend the afterlife.
Exactly. Cool news. The inn very much embraces the haunted reputation. So if you go there, feel free to ask employees for their experiences and then write us to tell us about it. iscreamyouscreampod@gmail.com. Okay, moving on to the next location in the town that is probably my favorite in this episode.
Ooh, okay.
It is the ever so stunning Prince of Wales Hotel. It's beautiful. It's so good. It's a luxury hotel that was built in 1864, and I genuinely want to visit this town just so I can stay in this hotel. It's so pretty. I'm still debating whether I want to request to stay in room 207 when we do eventually go here someday, because that is the room that is said to be haunted by a woman named Molly Maguire. So I will tell you the story of Molly, and you can help me decide whether I'm brave enough to request this room or not.
Okay.
This is another legend. According to local lore, long before it was a hotel, there was a wooden house on the property that was home to a woman named Molly Maguire and her family, who lived there during the War of 1812. And while the American troops were invading, those few days in May, she was standing at the window very tall and proud, unafraid, as she gazed upon the soldiers tearing apart her town. Her home was invaded by those soldiers, and again, they were looking for members of the British military. One of the soldiers came into the room where she was, and because she was standing so tall and proud, instead of like cowering in a corner and trying to hide like they were used to seeing from the citizens, he mistook her, like at first glance, it was just like a first sight, he mistook her for a soldier because she was like so unafraid. So he shot her on sight and she died right away. It is said that she still hangs out in room 207 because when the hotel went up, that room is in the same spot as the room where she was in her home in 1812. Before you help me decide whether or not we think we can/should stay here, let me assure you that Molly is not just stuck near the window, but it is said that she might also be stuck in the mirror as well.
Oh, okay. All right. I see the issue now. Yeah.
So, according to one couple who stayed in room 207, they woke up in the middle of the night during their stay to the sound of something falling in the bathroom. And they both got up together to go check it out because they were both too scared. It was like, no, you go, no, you go. And then eventually they both went. And the wife opened the bathroom door. And the moment she flipped on the light, she saw a woman with long, dark hair staring at her from inside the bathroom mirror. So what do you think?
Okay.
Do you think we should A, stay in this hotel in general, but also B, this specific room?
For sure, I think we should stay in the hotel. No question in my mind about that. That specific room, I'm leaning yes, because we could cover the mirror up so you don't have to look at it.
Yeah, we could.
We could do
I
that.
forgot about that.
Also, if you ever do want to conquer your fear of mirror ghost, it feels like she might be a safe spirit to do that with. Because are there reports of her doing like malevolent stuff, or is she just kind of hanging out in mirrors and knocking things down?
I didn't find any suggesting that she was not nice. Also didn't look, though. I also didn't like...
Don't look. We don't need to look.
Yeah. This is like a selective knowledge situation. My guess is as long as you're not a British soldier, she probably doesn't have anything against you. But who knows? I don't know. A lot of ghosts get confused on the other side, so who knows? Maybe Tom shouldn't stay with us.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I'll tell Tom not to bring his lobster back outfit
Tom's not invited. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We could do that if we went as like a double date trip kind of thing. You and Phil could stay in a different room. Tom and I could stay in this room, and then you could decide if you feel safe, and then we could swapsy, have a slumber party, and the boys could have a slumber party.
Okay, that's way smarter than what I was going to say. I was going to say just right off the bat, girl room, boy room, but we were in the scary room. So yeah, you guys take the scary room first, and then we'll swapsies.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart. There are so many individual locations in this town that have their own haunting/haunted lore that I can't fit all of them into the episode, but I do have two more. I'm going to try and make these two a little bit faster. But they're kind of my like honorable mentions of places that I couldn't find full lore about them, but I know it exists out there. So this is true for any of our episodes, but if you have any more information on any of these locations, particularly the ones I'm about to name, icecreamyouscreampod@gmail.com, because I want more information on these next two, because I really want to go to these two as well. But quick rundown. One of them is the McFarland House. So it was built in 1800, and it is one of Ontario's oldest surviving homes. The house is a Georgian-style brick manor, originally built and occupied by Scottish shipwright John McFarlane. And once the war started, John's house was seized and used as a field hospital by both American and British troops. So, yeah, weird energy right from the jump. While it was operating as this hospital, McFarland refused to provide the American soldiers any food or resources while they were being treated there. So he was taken prisoner and marched to a POW camp in New York State.
Yeah, yep. I'm not saying that should have happened, but...
That's bold move, though, right? Like,
yep.
Like, good on him for sticking to his guns, but dog, be careful, man. But
Literally,
he did
pick your
survive,
battles.
so
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, he
All right.
survived. Yeah, he made it home, but when he got home, he was so overwhelmed by the destruction that had been caused to not just his house, but, the whole town, that he died a few months later. And it is thought that he died of a broken heart because of everything that had happened. And he was so devastated by the war and everything like that. The house is now a museum that John still lingers at. He is seen there often. People will get a glimpse of him just hanging around as he would be hanging in his own home before anything happened. But it is said that the vibes of the house are very, very creepy, which is interesting because that's not usually a word people use so overtly. It's usually like spooky or heavy or dark. They're like, it's straight up like, no, this is a creepy place to be. I do think that that is due to the weird discombobulation that would come from the Americans and British wounded and dying all being there at the same time. People say that they feel like they're being watched, not necessarily by John, but like something. It feels like a weird, inhuman entity, almost like I'm going back to the Fort George Watcher. It's kind of it's like a shadow feeling. It's just like creepy, eerie, under your skin type vibes. The last place I want to talk about is St. Mark's Anglican Church that I mentioned earlier. And it was also used as a hospital during the war. And because it was a hospital, many of the soldiers who died ended up in that graveyard just for no other reason than just ease and proximity. And even though it's really sad, I have to say I effing love a church graveyard. There's just something about an old churchyard that I just love that vibe. Like, we could do a whole churchyard month. Like, I just love the vibe of a spooky old churchyard. This one's extra creepy because it is said that on foggy nights you can see the soldiers rising from their graves in the mist.
Oh, I know. All right.
I know. That's so alarming. That's such an alarming image. Also, casual, there's also a headless figure wearing a dark robe who mans the bell tower.
Great. Why wouldn't there be, Everyone needs a job.
Exactly. And every church needs a headless figure. I don't know. Okay. Did not know where that was going. So, in conclusion, the town is very spooky and very haunted. And lucky for us, they very much embrace their haunted reputation. Beginning in early to mid 20th century, Niagara-on-the-Lake became known for their organized ghost/historical tours. It seems to be one of those places where the history is very much intertwined with the haunting. You're not going to get a lot of like kitschy made up things. It's all based on real historical events, and a lot of them focus on the War of 1812. To this day, reports continue from residents, hotel staffs, tourists, paranormal investigators. This is a big spot for investigators to stay in because you can stay in literally any building and you're going to find or hear or see something. And yeah, when I was looking through it, and I'm not going to speak for everyone, but the general vibe is just like, yeah, we're haunted, period, end of sentence. So I definitely want to go there. And I think that we should add it to our travel list because I want to see all this for myself.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think we have to go there. I had no idea. Well, to be honest, I didn't know this place existed. When I saw this on... Okay, that makes me feel better. Because when I saw this on the calendar spreadsheet of what episode is happening when, I was like, is Niagara-on-the-Lake just Niagara Falls? I didn't know what the difference was. Yeah. Nor did I know it was in Canada.
I started with Niagara Falls, and it was just like, this is a waterfall. All the haunted stuff takes place on land. So that makes sense. So I landed on Niagara-on-the-Lake.
Interesting. Man, Bodies of Water Month has been fascinating. We've covered so much stuff.
I know, it's been fun. Dark stuff, but fun,
Very dynamic these last few episodes.
Yes.
I think it's going to get even more so next month as well. But thank you for doing that wonderful research.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed that. I feel like I'm standing up from sitting around like a spooky campfire story sesh or something.
Do you have something for me?
I do. For our Scary on Top today, we're going to do a little quiz.
Oh God, I'm so scared and excited. Okay.
So it's not the kind of quiz where we're quizzing each other on knowledge. I was feeling nostalgic for some of the previous months that we've done, and specifically I was feeling nostalgic for Cryptids month. So we're going to take a which little known cryptid are you quiz.
Okay, that's very exciting and not scary at all.
It'll be very fun. I think you're going to enjoy it. There's 8 questions, multiple choice. We can talk through what the answers are, and then at the end, I will score up what buckets we fall into, and I will tell you what little known cryptid you are. So, number 1, if you were a cryptid, where would you make your lair? Your options are the depths of the Pacific Northwest, the swampy wetlands of Rhode Island, somewhere high in the rolling hills of Washington, D.C. and Maryland, or the deep forest of the Congo.
I didn't know that Rhode Island had wetlands.
I also did not know that Rhode Island had wetlands. To be honest, I don't know much about Rhode Island, though.
Yeah, that's true. Me either. I'm more of a city girl, but for the purposes of there not being a lot of city cryptids, I'll say the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Very
woods.
nice. I think I am going to go for the swampy wetlands.
Yeah, I wanted to choose Rhode Island, but I'm like, I've never been there. I don't know what goes on over there. I wanted to choose somewhere I've been, and I've only been 2 of these places.
Pacific Northwest is beautiful. All right,
it is
question
pretty,
2.
yeah.
You can choose any meal you want. What does it include? Something flaky, something crispy, something juicy, or something with a fancy straw?
Crispy.
Ooh, yeah, same. All right. Question 3. What features would make the best possible cryptid? Flippers, horns, tentacles, or venom?
Venom.
Ah, same. Yep. Okay.
Oh,
Venom
nice.
for each of us. I want to be poisonous as fuck. Venomous, whatever the difference is. Okay. Pick an animal. Serpent, bat, bird, or spider?
Ooh, bat.
Nice. All right. I picked serpent. Pick an element. Water, fire, air, or earth?
I hate this question. I hate it.
Why?
Because
I thought this would be the most straightforward one.
No, I know, but that's why I hate it. You would think I would choose air, don't you? No.
Yeah.
It's hard. I need all of them. I hate this question.
You can split it. I can give you partial points. This is our game. We can do whatever we want.
All right, can you give me 1/4 of a point for each of them?
Yes, okay. Okay, 1/4.
This is genuinely something that I dread.
Can you tell me more about that? Why?
No, I can't. It's because I feel like I should choose air because I'm an air sign, but like your girl loves fire, I love water, and like earth's important because it's like where we live.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Okay, that is difficult. I didn't think about any of that. I was just like, water!
See, it's difficult.
Okay, that is difficult. Well, hopefully number 7 will be easier. It is.
I was just going to say, if we
sorry,
need a tiebreaker, I will come back and I'll panic choose air.
Okay, cool.
But I want the 1/4 right now.
Yeah, you're not heading towards a tiebreaker right now, but let's see where we are after the next 2 questions, and then we can tally up your quarter points. Okay, number 7. Pick the best explanation for a cryptid sighting. It's a creature once thought to be extinct. It's a previously undiscovered species. The story was invented to control and scare people. And this last one is a very long one. It's a case of misidentification where other creatures are mistaken for something fantastical.
Unidentified species.
Okay.
Like have not been discovered yet.
Okay. Beautiful.
What's
okay.
yours?
Last question. Mine was, I keep forgetting to say what mine is. The long one. The misidentification where other creatures are mistaken for something fantastical. What would be the coolest ability to have as a cryptid? Your options are the power to breathe and move freely beneath the waves, the ability to breathe or shoot flames, the ability to appear and vanish in perfect silence, or venom that causes vivid hallucinations.
Appear and vanish. That I was literally talking to Phil about this yesterday.
Okay, sweet. So I have our results. You did not tie with anything. Neither of us did. So I'm going to tell you what cryptid you would be. You would be the Gloucester Ghoul. Have you heard of the Gloucester Ghoul before?
I've never heard of that one.
There's a little paragraph
What the
about
hell's
it.
that? Tell me.
I will say, just real quick, I ripped this off of a website without cross-checking to make sure any of what I'm about to say is true. Take it with a grain of salt. This is for fun, so let's not take it seriously. Okay. You are the Gloucester Ghoul, lurking in the shadows of the town of Gloucester in Rhode Island. You are the stuff of nightmares for locals and travelers alike. Eyewitnesses generally agree that you have glowing eyes, large horns, and a body that appears half ram and half bat. Some claim that the ghoul is accompanied by a foul odor. You stink. And that and that it has the ability to breathe or shoot fire. A sense of dread and fear is often described when in the presence of this creature. Your cryptid superpower is pure intimidation.
Okay, that's pretty accurate.
That's pretty sweet, isn't it? I dig that a lot.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah.
That's not far off from how people describe me now.
You know what? When I read that your superpower is intimidation, I was like, yeah, that does track. You are scary when you want to be. But you can also turn it off, and that's the superpower too.
Yeah.
You can be very approachable, and you're also half bat and can shoot flames. So, you know, a lot of this
also
just
don't
tracks.
shower every day, so probably a little stinky sometimes.
Beautiful. And I am something called I don't know if I'm saying this correct. It sounds like a dinosaur. Cadborosaurus?
I've never heard of this. Where did you find this?
So I Googled, what cryptid are you quiz? I kept clicking until I found one that I was like, yeah, sure, that looks like fun. So a Cadborosaurus, whether it's diving to the deepest depths of the Pacific Ocean or terrorizing Canadian fishermen, each of your activities is shrouded in mystery. No scientist has been able to identify you properly. People are often at odds about your description. Some say that you have the head of a horse. Others describe you as bearing a resemblance to a camel, and even think you look a bit like a polar bear. What the fuck is this thing? Talk about a walking contradiction. Most agree that you have a long reptilian body. Your cryptid superpower is making people second guess themselves. This is a pretty good quiz.
This is so accurate.
Oh, I really enjoyed that. Do you want to know what the other options are? I won't read the whole paragraph. Okay. So one of them is called a snallygaster.
I don't know that either.
Apparently, it flies over the hills of Maryland, terrorizing unsuspecting farmers. It's kind of like a half bird, half reptile talons thing.
Okay.
And the last one is, I think it's pronounced the Jebé Fofi, which lives in the rainforests of Central Africa. And it's kind of like a giant spider thing. Very
I think I
scary.
have actually heard of that one, unless there's others like that. Oh, interesting. Okay, that was a good one. I thought it was going to be like Bigfoot, Mothman, like just the average. These are all, I've never heard of any of these.
I genuinely never heard about it. And now I really want to learn more about them. If I can remember where the hell I found the website I ripped this from, I will put it in the show notes in case any of you guys want to take the quiz. And if you do, feel free to send your results to icecreamyscreampod@gmail.com. Or if you have another, story or anything else you want to hear in the Scary on Top, feel free to pop it on over. Quick reminder that we do have a Patreon. It's incredibly fun and very cool, and we post there regularly. So feel free to join us over there. But you can also feel free to leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts. That really helps us out, and it means the world to us. But I think that's all we have for today. So until next time, little spoons, keep it cool.
And keep it creepy.